Hi, my name is David Madura. I'm the CEO of the Gospel Center Rescue Mission. You're about to hear some life-changing stories from those who have gone through our New Life program here at the Mission. You won't want to miss any of them. Just a warning though, these stories are a bit sensitive and a bit graphic. These individuals are sharing from their hearts. They're doing so honestly and transparently so that you can truly appreciate what God has done in and through their lives. On behalf of myself, the staff, and all those involved at the mission, we want to express how proud we are of those you're about to hear from. These transformation stories wouldn't be possible without the support of you, our generous donors. Thank you for supporting and listening. May God bless you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melanie. Growing up, I lived with my dad, his wife, and 4 step-siblings. My dad and his wife were both addicts. The house had no consistency or stability, so my dad would allow me to go stay with my aunt and cousins a lot. As a child, I had no idea what was really going on at home, but I knew at my cousin's house things were definitely different. I loved being with them. My mother was also an addict. She had 3 kids, 2 boys and myself, and all of us lived with our fathers. She was in and out of our lives. She passed away in 2010 from a heroin overdose. My addiction started when I was 11 or 12 with alcohol and marijuana. I had my first son at 14. I was able to stop smoking and drinking, and I loved being a mother. My dad got sick, so I was also taking care of him. I had to drop out of school because they both needed me all the time. When I was 17, I tried meth for the first time. At first, it wasn't an addiction, but then it progressed, without me even realizing it. My son started staying with his dad more and more. I had my second son at 19, and he was born positive for methamphetamine. CPS stepped in, took my son, and placed him with my aunt while I went into a program. I completed treatment and got my son back when he was 9 months old. I was a mother again. After staying clean for 6 years, I decided to start hanging around with people from my past that I used with. And before I knew it, I had lost everything in 8 short months. I had to move back home with my aunt and my dad. At 26, I had my 3rd son. This time I knew I had to make a choice to stop drinking and using. After having him, I was still struggling with my addiction, thinking alcohol is different from meth, so I'll just drink. I was so wrong about that. While I was drinking, I got 4 DUIs, and the last one led me to the Gospel Center Rescue Mission. When I got here, I really didn't want to do another program, thinking to myself I didn't need one. Today, I am so grateful that I gave myself and this program a chance. I've learned so much about myself and have learned many tools that I can use to be a better woman and mother to my boys. I am grateful for my life today, and I'm excited to see what my future holds.
Hi, my name is Cody, and I want to start off by giving thanks to God because without His presence in my life, I wouldn't be here today. To tell you a little bit of my history, which is really only His story. My troubles in life started way before I ever started using. My childhood is a blur to me. I don't remember much from it other than getting in trouble a lot and moving from place to place. I got expelled from school, went to juvenile hall, I was smoking weed and drinking, and eventually was sent to Hannah Boys Center, a school for troubled boys. I was there from the time I was 13 until I turned 18. And for a little while after that, life was good for me. I had a good job, and I was living with the first girl I ever loved. Now fast forward 2 years, and I find out that my girlfriend and my best friend at the time were hooking up behind my back. This was a big turning point in my life that started me down a path that eventually led to me using methamphetamines for 2 years. My habit turned from just using here and there to a full-blown addiction, using from the time I woke up until the time I went to sleep. So now I'm 23 years old, I have no job, nowhere to live, depressed, and spiritually I was broken. Until one night, I remember sitting in front of my friend's house, and I was thinking to myself, man, I can't live like this anymore. There's gotta be a way out, a way to get my life back on track. And I remember as soon as I thought those thoughts popped into my head, clear as day, I heard the words, Jesus, whispered in my ear, which really kind of tripped me out, because I don't hear voices, my addiction never really took me there. But that whisper was as real as my voice is right now. The next morning just so happened to be a Sunday, so I decided to go to church, and the message the pastor was preaching that day was absolutely everything I was feeling inside. It was like he was talking directly to me, which God was. And for the first time in my life, I was so broken and so in need that I asked Jesus into my heart, and and I just remember this overwhelming feeling of joy that just came over me, and I started bawling. It felt like my tears were cleansing my soul of all the hurt I've held onto in my life. I remember walking out of that church, and it felt like I was seeing the world for the first time. Everything was so beautiful. It was like I was seeing the world through some type of filter before, but now that filter was gone, and I fell in love with Jesus. And my life started getting better. I was on fire for God, and I wish I could tell you that I've been serving God ever since that moment, but I'd be lying to you. About 7 months after that day, a friend talked me into smoking some weed, and even though the Holy Spirit in me knew it was wrong, I gave in, and the guilt I felt from that one joint separated me from God. And instead of doing the reasonable thing and repenting from that, I covered that guilt with more weed, and eventually I had fully walked away from God. I thought I was broken before. Well, the next 7 years of my life made the stuff I went through before I was saved look like a walk in the park. I became a full-blown IV user. I was in and out of jail, went to prison, and lost everything. All my friends, all my family, nobody wanted to be around me. I was sleeping at the park, and all this hurt and pain, I just kept burying it deeper and deeper. Every time I would get high, I was ready to just give up. I didn't care if I lived or died. But here's the amazing thing about God. He never gave up on me. One day my mom decided she wanted to take me to this church she's been going to. I really didn't want to go at this point. I had completely given up on God and thought he had done the same. Praise God for Jesus though and his mercy that's beyond comprehension, because long story short, that church service brought me deliverance and showed me that God hadn't given up on me. I left that church restored and ready to commit myself to the Lord, but my addiction and the enemy didn't give up either. They fought me and I relapsed a few times. I knew I needed help. I wanted to live a life that was pleasing to God, but I didn't know how to battle this addiction on my own. So I started looking up faith-based rehab centers on my phone, and I found one in Woodland, California. I decided to go there. Mind you though, I lived in Modesto and my car has nowhere near enough gas to get there, but I decided to just go. I get all the way to Lodi, and my gas light's been on since Manteca, so I'm sure my car's gonna die anytime. So I pull over. I called the rehab I was going to, and they told me they can't help, and that it's gonna be at least 2 weeks until they can even get me in, and that wasn't gonna work. I needed somewhere now. So I'm looking up all these places on my phone, and I can't find anywhere that's free and that's faith-based. I'm super frustrated, and I just give up. I decide to get back on the freeway and head back to Modesto. I get to downtown Stockton, and I just know I'm going to run out of gas. So I get off on the next exit and pull into a 76 gas station. At this point, I'm just defeated, and I don't feel like asking for gas, so I'm just sitting in the parking lot, and I decide to pull out my phone and try one more time. I search for faith-based recovery programs in Stockton, and then a miracle happens. The first place that pops up is the Gospel Center Rescue Mission, and it's 0.2 miles away. My car ran out of gas right in front of the big metal gate that had the words, Jesus Saves on it. I have been at the Gospel Center Rescue Mission now for the last 6 months, and this place has given me my life back, shown me the tools I need to lead a successful, sober life. But most importantly, it brought me back into a relationship with God, and my faith is stronger now than it has ever been. The gospel has given me a job where I have the ability to show God's love to others, and after I graduate in September, I'm going to Bible college. I owe my life to this place and to the people who help keep its doors open. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Hi, my name is Crystal. I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas. My mom had 4 kids and then had her tubes tied. One day she got really sick and went to the hospital, and they told her she was 6 months pregnant with me. When I was 3 years old, my mom was at work and she got stabbed. This was a random act of violence. The Witness Protection Program relocated us to Lodi, California. This is when my mom's addiction started. She was never home, so we were left with my dad a lot. While we were with my dad, he would sexually abuse me and my sisters. This went on until I was 5 when my mom finally left him. When I was 10 years old, my appendix burst and I had major surgery. That was the first time I was given pain medication, and I remember how good it made me feel. I was told I would never have kids, but God had other plans. When I was 16, I had my first son, Marco. His father was very abusive, and he drank. From the age of 18 to 24, I had a lot of health problems and had many more surgeries. Each time, I was given opiates for the pain. When I was 29, I was in a horrible car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver, and I had to have 14 different surgeries. I was put in pain management because of the chronic pain I was in. Again, given more opiates. In 2014, my mom passed away, leaving a void in my life that I filled with my pain pills, using more than what was prescribed to me. To numb the heartache, this is where my full-blown addiction started. Because of the pain management program I was in, they would give me whatever I wanted. All I had to do was say I was in pain. When I was 36 years old, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, Ollie. But because of the pain management program I was in, I didn't have to stop taking my pain pills. So my addiction progressed. 2 years later, I was hanging out with my friends, taking pills and drinking, and I passed out in a room. When I woke up, I had no pants on, and no one knew what happened. 5 months later, I found out I was pregnant with my son, Leo. At this point, my addiction was out of control. On May 10th, 2020, I lost my kids to CPS. I was told I needed to enter a 6-month inpatient program. After I completed that program, I knew I needed more support in my recovery. So I reached out and was able to get into the mission. Since being here, I have rebuilt my relationship with God, learned a lot of tools for my recovery, got my kids placed back in my custody, and obtained employment. I plan on staying here until I get housing. I'm so grateful for the life I have today, and it's all because of God, the mission, and my willingness to change. There's a saying in the Bible mentioned 365 times. Do not be afraid. This is something I tell myself daily, and it's true.
Hi, my name is Satra. I have been involved with the mission for 3 years. I graduated from the New Life program in 2019. After completing the first and second phases of the program, I was offered a part-time position as a housewoman. I am now a counselor and a case manager at the mission. I have a degree in substance abuse counseling, and my dream is to become a mental health specialist. I am so grateful for the mission and everyone who believed in me. I am certain that none of this would have been possible without God leading me to the mission. I want to thank you for listening to these incredible testimonies and for your support of the Gospel Center Rescue Mission. May God bless you.